Hello and welcome to episode 3. Today we're going to talk about tempo and RPE. Let's start with tempo. Tempo is the time to perform the exercise and it comes in 4 digits. So with these 4 digits, I break them in half because the first section is the eccentric phase of the lift. Now you're probably thinking, Chris, what the hell is an eccentric? So basically the eccentric phase of a lift is lowering of the weight or the load. So if we had a 3 there, that means it'll take 3 seconds to lower the weight, either through a bench press, so 3, or with a squat, you're lowering down. Something like a lat pull down, it'd be lowering the weight, okay? So you're not actioning the exercise, which would be this section here. It's lowering the weight up, okay? That's the eccentric phase. The second digit is the bottom part of the lift, of the movement. So if we were talking about a squat, that'd be if there's a 1 second pause down the bottom or a 2 seconds, 3 seconds. So let's put a 1 second pause. Let's talk about a squat. So 3 seconds down, 1 second pause. We'll put an X there. This is the concentric phase. So this is the pressing of the load or the action step of the movement. So with a squat, you'd be pressing up, and with an X there, you want to do it with intent. You want to do it with a lot of force, and so there's no time kind of required for that one. The fourth one, the last one, is the time for the top position of the movement. So with a bench press, obviously up here, and with a squat, you start off at the top of the movement. 1 second for up top, 3 seconds lowering down with a 1 second pause, and then you drive up, okay? Same with if we use the same sort of tempo for a bench press, it'd be 3 seconds down, 2, 3, we're pausing for 1 second, and then pressing with a lot of force, with as much intent as possible. 1 second pause up top, catch your breath, and then 3 seconds down, and so on. If we were to have a look at, say, like a shoulder press, with those other 2 movements we spoke about, we start here. But with a shoulder press, we actually start here. We start in the concentric phase. So it'd be press, 1 second pause up top, 3, and then we've got a 1 second pause, 1, and so on. Does that make sense? So that is your tempo. Tempo is a great thing to understand because it will give you an idea of roughly how long you should be performing that movement, and it'll get you thinking about controlling the weight instead of just throwing it up. If we were to do like a bicep curl and you can literally not do the concentric phase for say with a bicep curl, if we were to do say 2 seconds, so 2, 1, 2, so bicep curl, it'd be starting here from the bottom. So 1, 2, 1 second pause, and then 1 second pause. If you can't do that, if you can't hold it up there as a 2 second concentric phase, then obviously the weight is too much for you to control. So you need to lower it down. So it's a good idea just to keep this in mind and count in your head. And make sure you're not going 1, 2. Make sure you're going slow, okay? So that's the tempo. Let's move on to RPE. RPE stands for Rate of Perceived Exertion. So basically it gives you a scale from 1 to 10 of the rate of effort you're putting into your workout or your exercise. Typically I wouldn't use, I guess, 1 to 6, and it'll make sense once I explain it, you'll know why. So it's between 1 to 10, but I'll use between 6 to 10. So basically, if you were to push out a 10 RPE, let's go to bicep curls, nice and simple. So if you were to do a bicep curl and your RPE was 10, that means you went to complete failure and you could not complete another rep. So you would call it a 10. If I was to say, John, perform 10 reps at an 8 RPE, you'll choose a weight where he wouldn't go to complete failure, But if he was to continue to failure, he'll do an extra 2 to 3 reps, okay? So it's about 80% of his max output. With a 7, same kind of thing, 3 to 4 reps, and a 6 is, 4 to 5 reps, give or take. That's why between 1 and 5, 1 to 6, you typically wouldn't really use. So with a warm-up, I would call it a 6 or a 7, because you don't want to go to, you don't want to max out on your warm-ups, obviously. But it's a good way to scale your workouts and have an idea of where you're sitting with your effort output. You don't want to go for a 10 all the time, because you just can't keep it up, okay? So remember, if you can have like a week or 2 of maxing out, going for your PBs, see how strong you are, smash it out. But then I would back it off a little bit. Hover around your 8 or 9 RPE. RPE can be very useful for cardio equipment as well. So if you were to get onto a rower and it was more of a warm-up, then I would put like a 7 RPE there. So then okay, my coach, moderately intense for the rower. If for some reason he puts like a minute there for a 7, and then the next minute is a 10, that means he wants you to go as high as you can for the full minute, and then back off to the 7 RPE. So it's a great way to have a bit of a play with your effort output throughout your workouts. A good way to test your RPE, and it'll take some time. The longer you are in the gym and your training, you'll get a better idea of what weight will suit you and what reps you can push out with it. But just to test it, if you were to aim for an 8 RPE, I'll just choose any weight. Just choose a weight that you think you can push out, say 10 to 12 reps at 8. If you were to say, dumbbell chest press, and you're pressing away, and you get to the 12th rep, and you call out 8 RPE, okay? Keep going. Keep going to absolute failure so you can't complete another rep. See how many extra reps that you do. If you go, 5+ reps more, then your estimation of an 8 RPE was a little bit off. So that means you're stronger than you thought, so you can go up in weight. So when you reach your rep range, you're actually meeting the RPE. So there it is. That's tempo and RPE explained for you. In the next video, we're going to talk about nutrition pre your workout. So pre-workout and post-workout nutrition. I'll see you guys in the next video.